Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope everything is good and great and wonderful and fantastic and fabulous. It is a beautiful autumn day here right now, and hopefully maybe this weekend I'll get the drone out and try to get some good, mountain footage of the trees here, because it really is a wonderful time of year. And today I picked out some more books to talk about, but I might do something else with that content. So for right now, we're going to go back to the normally scheduled talking about Chevee, and we'll figure something else to do with that later. But today I've got my oldest here because this whole school thing has been a really big struggle. I don't know what school is looking like wherever you are, but for my children, it is 2 days a week in person and 3 days a week at home. They were supposed to have online classes like Zoom meetings and stuff, but the school district is having a hard time getting computers into the students' hands, so they've just been giving assignments and kind of a do it at your own pace kind of thing. And there's a whole lot of leniency with like, here's your assignments, just get them done, and not necessarily like, anyway. I expected the big struggle to be the social side of this, right? My two children are very different. My oldest is kind of very similar to me. She's what I like to call a social introvert, which means that she flourishes in social. She likes social interaction, but she's also like prefers to be alone. That's who I am. Like, I love socializing with people, but given it, if I had my way, I wouldn't, right? So I thought that this, school thing would be great for her because she would get to socialize for a couple of days and then just have her time. But it's been really weird for her because they split the school into halves, I think on K, like the last name starting with K. And all of her friends are at the latter half of the alphabet. So all of her friends are going to school 2 different days than her. So she's not getting to see her normal friends. And that's been really weighing on her. Whereas my youngest is the social, like, that's everything, right? Monster needs constant social attention. And so I thought this would be a big problem, but it's not been, because I think soccer has been a big help. There's a whole lot of after activity that can keep the social interaction going. But what is happening is homework issues, the amount of homework. And it's honestly, looking at it, it's not that much. Like, I would say it's much less than in person, because when taking a class that's just read a text and write some stuff, it's much different than receiving a lecture. It's a very different process. So I would say that they don't really have a whole lot of work. The problem is there's not that leniency I was talking about. The problem is they're having trouble with, well, my youngest, not so much. Let me take that back. The middle school has been like very strict with, here's your assignments, you have, they have to be turned in within this time frame. Whereas my oldest is at high school level, and it's just like, turn it in. And I've discovered just how much like me she is. We both have this same sort of procrastination issue where I don't necessarily have an order. Like, nobody's told me you have to do this by this. And so I'll go dick off and do whatever I want to do, because what I want to do is way more fun and important than the actual task. And it's gotten to a point where, her school had to call me and say, what's going on, right? And I said, oh, okay, I will have a talk with her. And it's a very familiar feeling to me. It's that feeling of, I don't want to do this, so I just won't. I'll just go do something else until I can't put it off anymore, and then I'll have to do it. And the problem with that scenario is you can do it for one thing. I can say, like, I need to make this thing, but I can just dick off and not make that. The problem is when you're in school and doing that, it compounds, right? Like now there's more stuff, and the longer you put it off, the more overwhelming that pile of stuff becomes, and it can become extremely difficult to dig through it and resolve to finish it. And that's where we're at right now. So, you know, I'm working with her on motivation and trying to keep, you know, for me, keeping one of those end goals in mind of, I have to do this. Like, I have a goal. You know, my goal, her goal is to get to a liberal arts college. And I told her, like, if that's your goal, you need to realize that everybody who makes it to a liberal arts college had to go through the same stuff you're going through right now. And that means you also have to. You have to just do it. And it sucks and it's boring and you'd rather watch TikToks, but you just have to do it. Period. Just do it. And it's really, I can see myself in her right now, and it really hurts. Like, it doesn't hurt because she's mocking me. It hurts because I know how much internal struggle I've gone through in my life to accept the fate of doing whatever it is that needs to be done and then actually seeing it through. And I'm seeing that in her right now, and I'm really terrified for her because it's that overwhelming thing. We've talked about it a lot lately. I've been feeling it a lot lately. And in the past, it was this house. I would get overwhelmed and I just wouldn't work on the house, and then it would just turn into a pile of shit. Or bills. I would just get behind on bills, and so I just wouldn't pay them until I started getting pink slips. That hasn't happened in a very long time, but that overwhelming, like, it starts to snowball to the point that you don't know how to control it. And I'm really hoping that we can work through this together, because I don't want her to suffer because she's not getting that direct in-person instruction that says, do this tonight, turn this in tomorrow. Because if you don't, it's a mark. That sort of thing I thrive with. If somebody says, do this, and I have to have it by tomorrow, it will be done. If somebody says, do this and get it to me by next week, oh, I didn't get it done. You know, it becomes much easier to say that. And I think that's where she's getting stuck right now. So hopefully we can get through it. And hopefully, you know, I don't want to say hopefully this whole situation resolves itself quickly. I want the pandemic situation to resolve itself as it needs to be resolved, right? I don't want people getting sick and dying because we try to rush kids back to school. But I hope there's some sort of resolution, whether it's online classes where they're actually structured classes and you have to turn in assignments on time and that sort of thing, like a normal school, or maybe she can just get caught up to the point that she's ahead. That'd be great. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. All I know is I can help. Been trying. So I'm going to keep seeing through it. Let me know how school's going for you and children in your area. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for being here, as always. Thank you for liking and commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I will see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is countenance. It is a noun meaning a facial expression, either deliberate or unconscious, conveying the person's mood, thoughts, or emotions. We romped until the pans slid from the kitchen shelf. My mother's countenance could not unfrown itself. Theodore Rothschild, an American poet. Countenance, C-O-U-N-T-E-N-A-N-C-E.